This wasn't the greatest movie made. I don't think it was that bad. I think retaining those 14 minutes would have made it better. It had a very good cast, and the plot, while unorthodox and perhaps tough to believe, was still thought-provoking on many levels. Basically, 12 women were sent horoscopes by a well-thought-of psychic. Their connection to each other was they had been sorority sisters. Each prediction had them either hurting themselves or someone close to them. The premise was that consistent suggestion can lead to action. The movie opened with the following quote from a psychology book. Suggestion is a very common occurrence in the life of every normal individual. Waves of certain types of crime, waves of suicide are to be explained by the power of suggestion upon certain types of mind. That was written by Professors Hoffenberger and Hollingsworth. What actually was going on was subterfuge by the 13th woman. Alright, before I go on, this is a spoiler alert. Watch the movie first before hearing this. What actually was going on was subterfuge by the 13th woman played by Myrna Loy. She played a so-called half-breed, half-Indian, half-Asian. The 12 others had treated her cruelly back at the school. She concocted a plan to get revenge. She found her way into the psychic's life and mesmerized him. She would take his predictions, tear them up, and replace them with her own. The first one in the movie pertained to the character played by Mary Duncan, a former silent movie star who awkwardly was trying to make the transition to talkies. She was definitely a doll face, but her voice was one which didn't help her chances at continued stardom into the new movie era. If you could have combined her looks with Entwistle's voice and acting skills, you would have had Hollywood's dream glamour star. Mary played a trapeze artist. Peg's character arrived to see her old friend and watch one of her shows. Mary's character was worried about the horoscope sent to her. The power of suggestion was too much for her to handle, and she froze during the act, leading to her fellow trapeze artist falling to her death. Keep that in mind, like I asked earlier, for you to remember Peg's dad dying right before Christmas. I believe the power of suggestion is too much for Peg in real life and was the main reason she took her life precisely the way she did. This was the horoscope forged to Peg's character. This was what the Swami had wanted to send her, followed by the forgery. The prediction was originally supposed to be one of good tidings. This was one sent to another of the ladies, where the reference is made to Christmas. This is what I think exactly happened. Peg Entwistle, from the earliest of ages, suffered deep trauma with the loss of her mom. To compound that, she then lost her stepmother and father. She then got kicked around by an abusive husband. For all her talent, she was unable to make a dent in Hollywood. She ended up with financial difficulties. According to one blog, she even lowered herself to being photographed for soft porn. Certain imagery from the movie 13 Women put her over the edge. I think the death of the trapeze artist put the idea of falling into her head. I've heard that falling in dreams is a sign of mental anguish. I also think the thought of one of the sorority sisters dying before Christmas reminded her of her father's painful death. I think at this point Peg simply felt doomed. It's very sad what happened to her. I'm sorry this blog entry has been such a bummer. I just found it important to pay this woman some respect. She was only 24 frickin' years old. She had so much talent. Maybe if Hollywood hadn't been full of itself and primarily looking for dream girls over talented ones, Peg would have lived to the 97 years that Mary Duncan reached. Now that I think about it, I have even more respect than ever for Greta Garbo quitting the movies and never looking back. Hollywood is all about chewing up their stars and spitting them out. Let's all try to empathize with the Peg Entwistles of the world, whether famous or not. She deserved a better fate. I look at it that she didn't kill herself, but rather it was Hollywood who killed her. I think if she had experienced success with movies, she would have survived. It was her last hope. Acting was the one thing that brought her feelings of self-worth and dignity. Hollywood had no use for her. They were more interested in looks over acting skills. They killed her. May Peg Entwistle rest in peace.